Hey, I'm Elisa Parker. We're broadcasting here from the Wild and Scenic Film Fest Media Lounge, and we are celebrating our 16th year of Wild and Scenic, one of the largest environmental film fests of its kind in the United States, right here in Nevada City in Grass Valley, California. I have with us Kristin Tieche, and she is the filmmaker with The Invisible Mammal, and it talks about the bats and how important they are.
Yes.
And so we're going to get into the story. But first, welcome, Kristin, to Wild
Thank you.
Scenic.
Thank you.
Have you been here before?
I must have come to Nevada City when I was a child, but I don't think I've come in my adult life, so this is a really great surprise.
It's a whole new thing.
It's so beautiful here.
So then your first time at Wild and Scenic, too.
And my first time here, yes.
Well, I hope you've had an amazing time so far.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Tell us about your film.
So the film is called The Invisible Mammal, and my goal is to make an episodic series, and this is the first installation. And so this film focuses on Corky Quirk, and she's a bat rescuer and a bat educator in Yolo County. And so there's a highway bypass, the Yolo bypass, that goes over a wildlife area, and in this highway lives a colony of 250,000 Mexican free-tailed bats. And so the film talks about their role in the ecosystem and, how humans need to understand how important these animals are. And so I recommend everybody come check it out.
What do you want us to know about the bat, first of all?
Well, bats are so important, and we live in California, and California is basically the producer of most produce that the entire country consumes, and so bats play a huge role in agriculture, and they save farmers like billions of dollars a year, in pest control, and on top of that, we're also experiencing the decline of bat populations in North America.
Why is that?
So there's a disease called white nose syndrome that's spreading from east to west and north to south. And so about 10 years ago, more or less, it was discovered in caves in New York. And then since then it's spread and it's decimating like entire bat populations. And so you can see it's slowly creeping west, and last year was the first time that it was found in a cave in the state of Washington.
Wow.
So it is coming to the West Coast, and right now we don't know if there's a cure, if there's a way to stop it. I mean, researchers and scientists are doing a lot to try to find a way to stop the spread of the disease. And mostly that's through, prevention and cleaning and keeping people out of caves. But on top of it, the amount of money that is being saved, by bats through their pest control for agriculture is not equal to the amount of money that's going into white nose syndrome research.
I was going to ask too, how is the agricultural community even rallying for this?
Well,
I think they would financially, right?
Yeah, I think most farmers know the importance, but the resources just aren't there. And well, you know what? There's a lot of farmers here in the area who've talked to me since I've even arrived, and people who just have gardens, at their houses, and they say, "Oh, I built a bat box," and and there is an artist here at the festival who has donated some bat boxes to Wild and Scenic, and you can go pick them up over if anybody's listening and has bats on their property.
That's cool. I didn't even know there were bat boxes.
Yeah, so you can go pick up a bat box over in the welcome lounge.
Okay,
yeah.
That's great. So Corky's rescuing bats. So what is she doing to rescue the bats? What's that look like?
Yeah, so she is a bat rescuer and a bat educator. And what happens is that, for example, if one of these people that has a bat box or, has bats on their property, they find an injured bat, then they call NorCal Bats. And this is the organization that Corky founded. And she will send somebody to come pick up the bat, and then she'll rehabilitate the bat. And then if it's able to be released, then she'll release it within a 3-mile radius of where it was found, so the bat can find its way back home. Okay. If it's too injured, then she officially registers the bat for educational purposes in the state of California, and then she'll teach people, about the role that bats play And so, you know, kids especially are so curious.
Right, right. They're this mysterious animal.
They are. They're in
What do you,
so
what do
the
you
name
want
of my
us,
film. They're the invisible mammal.
right. What do you want us to know about? Like, there's so many myths, I think, around bats too. You know, and so like, what are a couple of things you want us to know about the bat?
Well,
I mean, in addition to when you were talking about just the importance that they have.
Yeah.
In our agricultural.
You know, I talk to a lot of people about my film. I say, oh yeah, I made a film about bats, and then you know, a lot of the times people say, oh, I heard they fly into your hair, and I'm like, that is.
That's what they do.
No,
there's so much more, people, to the bat than them being a nuisance in your hair.
Yeah, no, they actually fly
and
about
really
a mile
go in
high.
your hair.
Yeah,
right.
they
They're
fly.
radars.
They fly a mile high to catch like all sorts of bugs that you know could eat the crops and stuff that we will then consume. You know, they're pollinators as well in some parts of the world, and I think the bats that we have here in Northern California are mostly bug-eating bats. They're not pollinating bats or fruit bats.
How did you connect with Corky?
So I think I just heard about her and I contacted her, and she was so amenable. She just said, yeah, absolutely, you know, I'd love to work with you. And that was that. And she's just a friendly person and really just a great, you know, she's kind of like a hero, you know, in the wildlife world, and, you know, doing what she does to rescue, you know, these little creatures.
So Kristin, our theme this year is Groundswell, right?
Okay.
So how we're like, we're like, there is this surge, right? And convergence.
Yeah.
And we feel that here even at Wild and Scenic, for example, over the weekend, because thousands of social change makers come together and filmmakers telling the stories. How has that applied to you personally? As you know, in looking at Groundswell and that rise up and what that means for you, especially, you know, I think in our recent times, last year.
Well, I want to start, you know, on a personal note.
Right.
So I'm a student right now of climate change and sustainability, and I think that there's a lot that we can do as individuals just to make one small shift in our lives in 2018. Like, what is that one thing that we can do?
What's your one thing?
Well, I'm going to actually go car-free this year.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I live in San Francisco.
So it's doable.
It's doable. But if you don't live in San Francisco, you need to switch to an electric vehicle, like, now. There's really no reason not to. There's ethical, there's environmental, and then, of course, there's, like, financial benefits to switching to an electric vehicle. So do that. You know, it's like, people say, oh, I need my car. Well, if you need your car, then you need an electric vehicle. Like now.
Right, electric vehicles.
Yeah, and then on a note related to my film, which I think is, you know, why I'm here in the first place. I think anybody can go down to Yolo Bypass Wildlife Area in the summer and go visit the 250,000 bats that live under that freeway and see for yourself how amazing these creatures are.
That's cool. Very cool. All right, Kristin, thanks so much for being here with us. When's the film screening?
The film is screening today, Saturday at 12:30 at the Nevada Theater, and it's screening again tomorrow at 12:30 at the Yuba River Charter School.
YRC.
Yes.
All right, the invisible mammal.
Yes.
And so much of what we need to know about bats and support him. Thank you so much, Kristin,
Thank you.
for being here. It was
Thank
a pleasure
you.
to have you. I'm Elisa Parker. It's the Wild Scenic Film Fest, and we'll be back in a bit.